poodle mix named Astro, a dog that Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Captain Don Yingling would like to rename.
Should have named him Rocket.
Captain Yingling, firefighters Ryan Bailey, Chris Walker, and Zach Horcher were called to a multi-vehicle crash on the interstate. Leah Young was involved in that crash. While she headed to the hospital with minor injuries, her beloved year-and-a-half-old pooch, Astro, was placed in a fire department vehicle for his safety, but someone accidentally opened the door.
Yeah, as soon as the door cracked, that dog was out.
What started out initially as a game of cat and mouse quickly turned into a lopsided track meet, with Astro running for his life down a closed interstate.
We were in pretty good shape. The dog was ahead of us, but we were gaining ground on him. And then there was a break in the Jersey wall, and he made it through there, and that's when it got a little hairy.
Astro headed straight toward traffic, and in a moment that made us all gasp, he goes under a car, but amazingly resurfaces unscathed.
Our job is to protect everybody and animals and the people and everything, so we didn't want him to get over there.
Small, fluffy, and freakishly fast, the seemingly indefatigable, undeterred dog just kept going, weaving through traffic with the breakneck speed of a thoroughbred and the 9 lives of a cat. The big break for everyone came when Astro took a quick U-turn in front of a tractor-trailer.
A civilian actually stopped and actually scared him into the bushes. So once he got into the bushes, he was running up a hill, and we're able to catch him.
Captain Yingling and his team finally corralled Astro safe and sound after the 7-minute marathon chase. He's now back home in the arms of Leah Young, who tells us Astro is tired and in need of hydration. She's grateful for his guile and the firefighters who never gave up on him.
New Jersey Transit Police inside the women's bathroom at Newark Penn Station where a woman needed help.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Hey, close the bathroom!
Officer Brian Richards trained for this, but now a baby turning gray and lifeless was in his hands.
I saw that the baby was not breathing.
Start EMS now, ASAP.
He calls for EMS, but then decides it is too late, and he sprints to his patrol car with his partner in the driver's seat.
Put this down!
Officer Al Nunes begins racing towards University Hospital. All the way, Officer Richards is doing CPR when suddenly signs of life.
There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
It's already high stress, high adrenaline, but once I had the baby crying, it was a very big sigh of relief and a happy moment that the baby was crying and everything that we were doing was working.
Both men have kids of their own, but on Tuesday morning when faced with this emergency, whether it was their parental instincts, their training, or their calling as police, they stood out as heroes.
You see these stories on the news all the time, and never you think that would be me.
Captain America here. How you doing, buddy? So I read your story. I saw what you did. You're a hero. What you did was so brave, so selfless. Your sister is so lucky to have you as a big brother. Your parents must be so proud of you. Keep being the man you are. We need people like you. Hang in there. I know recovery might be tough, but based on what I've seen, I don't think there's much that can slow you down.
Yesterday evening, alive and crying in a dumpster bin behind a church on Fairview Drive in Wilmington. He's alive tonight thanks to a woman who was in the right place at the right time walking her dog when she heard him crying and called 911. Tonight we have team coverage.
Cynthia Burton walks her dog Flounder several times a day. Thursday, they decided to take a different path home because of the hot pavement. That's when she heard a noise coming from a garbage bin behind a nearby church.
I heard a cry, a loud cry, and then I kept hearing it.
What she found will stay with her forever. It was a baby boy, just born, the umbilical cord still wrapped around his neck.
He would not have survived if someone hadn't been walking that way, because he was in the trash bin at the bottom. He was in a trash bag and the ties were tight. I couldn't open them. I had to rip the trash liner apart.
She ran to a nearby apartment complex, screaming for help. Luckily, a neighbor heard her and ran to assist. They cradled the baby boy. Burton calmly removed the cord and sang "Jesus Loves Me" to the tiny infant.
I saw the baby and I knew I had to take action. I didn't even wait a second. I knew I had to take action because the baby was so bloody. It looked like it had just been born.
She says it was a mixture of divine intervention and being aware of her surroundings that saved the young boy's life.
It's pretty powerful. It changes your life. And I know God put me in that place at that time.
Despite the trauma of the boy's first moments here on Earth, Burton hopes the child grows up knowing his life has worth.
He's special. He was loved from the very beginning that I got him in my arms and saying, Jesus loves me. That he's going to live a wonderful life, and he's very powerful and very strong because he cried out to live. And if I had walked by and not heard a sound, I'd have kept on walking. But he cried, and he kept on crying and kept on crying. He cried until I went and got the bag and pulled him up. And when I opened the bag, he stopped crying. But that's when I believed that he knew that he was safe.
January 2nd, I went to get up to go to the bathroom and I couldn't even walk 5 feet. Ordered an x-ray finally, and by the time we went to go get the x-ray and we came home, she had called me and said, "You have really bad pneumonia, your lungs are almost filled, you need to go to the ER."
We ended up at UH Amherst emergency room, waiting for ambulance to take us down to UH Cleveland Medical Center. She started having a coughing fit. They did another chest x-ray and she was getting a lot worse and having trouble breathing. So that's when she was flown down to Cleveland, where she ended up being intubated in the ICU for 4 days.
She obviously was very, very scared, not only for herself, but for her baby. She kept telling us, I'm pregnant, and you could tell she was sick because every time we moved her, she got short of breath.
Didn't realize how sick I was. The first thing I thought of was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get through this. I mean, I'm 12 weeks pregnant at the time. I have a 5-year-old at home. I just got married in September. I was like, I still have a full life to live. I was born premature. It's actually life-flighted because I went into respiratory distress. Every day that you wake up healthy is a day worth living.
And to be able to help somebody in their worst moments of their lives is something pretty special, and to see the outcome be so well like Natalie's was, it was super rewarding.
I can never thank them enough. I mean, they're the reason why I'm here today. They're the reason why I'm sitting here.
Thanks for watching Motivate. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more positive content.